Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from New York Community Bank, Capital One Bank, Eastern Consolidated, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, the Witkoff Organization, Ariel Property Advisors, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Perfect Building Maintenance, Genova Burns. Additional funding has been provided by AKA Hotels Corming Communities, AmTrust Title Insurance Company, AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Citizens Bank, Cohen Equities, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, Connect One Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Dime Community Bank, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handro Properties Handler Real Estate Organization, Hodges Ward Elliott Inc., iFunding, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Center at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Madison Realty Capital, Matone Group, Mercantile Commerce Bank, New Banks, Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, People's United Bank, Polsinelli, Rosewood Realty Services, SJP Properties, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, Terra, CRG, the Knackle Group at Cushman and Wakefield, the Moynihan Group, and These Friends.
There's major development taking place north of 96th Street. Residential, commercial, all this type of development. There's such great opportunities. So today I've assembled three individuals who are going to each introduce themselves to tell you what's going on north of 96th Street.
Sure.
Ed?
My name is Edward Poteat, and I'm president of Carthage Advisors. We are real estate developers that focus mostly in northern Manhattan.
Michael Tortorici. I'm a partner at Ariel Property Advisors, a commercial brokerage and advisory firm that does a lot of business in Upper Manhattan.
I'm Stephen Kleigerman, president of Halstead Property Development Marketing. We work with developers to bring new product to market from pre-development planning all the way through marketing and sales.
So let's talk about why are people looking to own up in north of 96th Street? Is it a low-cost alternative? Is it the convenience to Midtown Manhattan? He finds the land, he sells it. You're the guy who tries to develop it, and then he tries to market it for you. What's making this market have a resurgence again? Because we had a resurgence, then we died, the entire market might, because of 2008 in the world, and now there seems to be a resurgence again. So what do you say, Steve?
Well, it's a little bit of all that. There's certainly great value in Upper Manhattan, but there's also great history. Beautiful parks, more parks than any other area of Manhattan. There's amazing access to transportation, which really makes a big difference for buyers because they can get anywhere they work within 25 minutes from anywhere from 145th Street South. So there's so much happening, and there's great restaurants and bars and nightclubs, and you know, now you've got Whole Foods coming, and you know, so it's a wonderful community with beautiful architecture, the most beautiful brownstones in all of the city, and it's convenient, and it's still a real bargain.
Prices. What's development land selling for? Who's looking to build over there? You know, what are you seeing happening in that?
Right now, development sites are trading anywhere from 200 to 250 a buildable square foot on average, which is tremendous when you think that at the peak of 2007, the average topped out around 140, 150 per buildable square foot. And there's been a little bit of a pushback on pricing this year as opposed to 2015, along with the rest of New York
But in
City.
2007, we had the opportunity of tax abatements. Today, you're building without tax abatements, so somebody is building at a higher cost.
Building at a higher cost, but also the prices that you could achieve for residential back in 2007. I mean, there was no condo market in Upper Manhattan back in 2003, 2004. It really started to take shape then. And the market at that point went from about 500 a square foot to maybe topping out about 700, 750 at some of the best developments in 2007. Today, you're pushing 1,000 a square foot in most of the areas that have a condo market. In the better locations and the more amenitized buildings, you could speak to it more than I, but you're pushing 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. So, and that's still a relative bargain to everything that you see below 96th Street. So I think it's still a value play, but there's also, when you compare it to the rest of the city, but there's also the great fundamentals that Steve described.
Ed, you started your career in affordable housing and in banking. As a developer, where do you see the opportunities in north of 96th Street? And as we were saying prior to the show, there are different areas. The streets change, East Harlem is one community, West Harlem is another community, and it even changes from there. Where are the best opportunities, and where do you see the market growing?
What's interesting is when I started in the late 90s, there were a lot of city-owned properties. So there were massive opportunities there. I think what you have now, the secret is churches. Churches are the only large lots or somewhat large lots left that are underutilized. Developers now, because there's not land, are saying, okay, if you have a one-story structure, to me, that's land, because I can knock you down and go up 6, 7, 10.
Now, do you have to put the church back, or what is the church doing with the properties? Okay, in certain aspects, they want to still serve the community. So, what has happened, south of 96th Street, if we take an example of some of the synagogues, which have been taken over, and basically the developer is putting some of them back into the space, or they're building a space for them. Is that the same thing that's happening in the churches?
It's similar. In the deals that we're looking at, we are bringing churches back. So, that's kind of the conundrum.
What happens in the interim? Okay, what these synagogues had to do is they had to find them separate places, or they rent the space, because the congregation continues even during a 2-year development cycle.
Right. It's the same thing. So, you have churches that are doubling up during this process, and then they're waiting for their church to come back, and then they'll move back in their space. But, there is not a lot of lots left in Central Harlem. Maybe in East Harlem you can find a lot or two, but in Central Harlem everything's pretty much spoken for.
A lot of the East Harlem sites are city-owned in many cases, so that's there's just not left.
What's the plans for the rezoning in East Harlem?
It's going to change everything. I think it's one of the. It's still kind of under the radar. It's still emerging, but I think it's going to be transformational in a similar way that the rezonings that they did on Frederick Douglass, in particular, which is one of the most successful rezonings I think the city has seen, and I think similar to what we see right now in downtown Brooklyn. It's going to be along those lines in terms of its transformative effects.
So what are the specifics or the planned East Harlem zoning?
I think the highest density changes are going to come along 3rd Avenue and between 104th and 125th Street, and then Park Avenue from 118th, I believe, to the 120s or so. And they're going to be R10. They're talking about 35-story buildings. Wow. They're going to incorporate affordable, which is very important. And then also along 2nd Avenue, they're going to be doing R9, lower density along Lex, but it's going to be a massive redevelopment that may not all come to fruition this cycle, but by the time the next one rolls around, it's going to be the place everyone's going to want to develop. And it'll also attract on the east side higher caliber developers. The density's been low overall, so it's been a lot of small to mid-sized developers that you see in Brooklyn and in Queens. But I think the types.
Are we seeing, and you as a buyer, you as an advisor to them, are we seeing any, we've seen a large preponderance of foreign investors coming into different parts of the city, and especially the Chinese investors. Have any of the Chinese investors ventured or thought of going into developments north of 96th Street? Have you been approached or?
It's interesting. Steve and I did a building called 88 Morningside, and we named it 88 Morningside because we felt wrongly that the number 8 is significant in Chinese culture. I don't think we had one Chinese buyer come in the building.
We had we had a group come and promise a lot of Chinese buyers, but they didn't come at that time. But I think it was the same thing with Brooklyn pre-2010, where the Chinese buyer, and frankly the international buyer in general, really wanted to be in Midtown Manhattan. Right. They did not want to be anywhere else. Today, yes, we see both individual buyers from China and internationally in general, and we also see development companies and equity sources from China now coming in and taking a look at development opportunities in Harlem, which we never saw pre-2010, 2008.
How important is the change at Columbia University having an effect on the marketplace?
It's interesting. If you look at Central Harlem compared to West Harlem, Central Harlem has taken off more than parts of West Harlem. I was having this conversation. If you look at Broadway in Amsterdam and 126th, 127th, it hasn't, to me, gentrified or the values haven't gone up the way it's gone more east. And you would think it would be the opposite. We had buildings on 125th Street that we sold, and I still see the commercial spaces vacant there, and we sold those buildings a couple of years ago. So that I haven't seen the spillover from Columbia impact its neighborhood directly next to it, like it's impacted Central Harlem, which is strange, but I'm not sure why.
It hasn't been priced in yet. I think
Right.
when it's done, I think it's going to be a real pop. But so far, we've seen definitely some incremental increases, but not what you'd expect.
Right.
But we've also, one of the issues is that we haven't seen the development because Columbia owns 99% of all the land in the area, right? So it's taken a long time to develop. Now,
But I understand that with regard to certain type of development. But what Ed brought up before is, and I don't understand, and I've seen it, is the retail in that part of West Harlem it really hasn't grown. Okay, there hasn't been any major new stores over there.
Right.
Nobody's planning to open up as opposed to more of the central Harlem and the regular West Harlem.
Right.
Okay. The West Harlem close of 126, St. Nick's, Adam Clayton Powell, it's a different market. There are things going on. I mean, how important do you believe that the development right now on the Victoria site, the development with the Whole Foods, with the Burlington Coats, and all the others are going to have an effect? Because I think, when you're trying to have a neighborhood, you have to be having, you need live, work, shop, and visit.
you need convenience.
Okay, you need conveniences. And part of the problem that I see, unfortunately, even in Long Island City, is that they don't have the shopping right now, and it's not really planned. And until they get the appropriate shopping, it's going to be a difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's starting to happen in the Columbia University area south of 125th Street, and I think one of the things, Savannah is doing the JTS site on 122nd and Broadway. That's going to be a 300 or so thousand square foot residential tower. That's going to change the entire fabric of the area, bringing in relatively high-end residential buyers with amazing views, great amenities, and that coupled with what's happening on 126th, 127th with Columbia, that's going to close the gap a lot. And I think people that are paying attention are trying right now to scoop up any opportunities they can, because I think it all is going to come. I think that west side of 125th Street, you see a lot of closed up stores. I think some of those folks might be also waiting a little bit, saying, hey, you know what, if I wait another year, I'll get another $20 a square foot. So why not wait?
I mean, in a way, it's like people were waiting on the Second Avenue subway.
Absolutely.
And the Second Avenue subway, the retailers who waited have been waiting 7 years or waiting for Godot. And in the same manner, there is the discussion that eventually when the Second Avenue opens up at 96th Street, they're going to start the expansion up as far as 125th Street. that will take, I don't think any of us will be around by that time the development would be completed, because they're not going to open it up at 102nd or 116th Street. They're going to wait to 125th Street. And as we've seen, it takes a long time. But I think relating to what helps a area grow is the transit-oriented development, the accessibility to the train. Okay, even today, you know, the Lexington Avenue line on 125th Street is important. But part of the negative, which we discussed before the show, is, and in a show that I recently did on the Bronx, you have to get rid of the crime, you have to get rid of the methadone maintenance. How do you get rid of those things? I mean, that's one of the biggest problems today that's still affecting people visiting, shopping, and renting up in East Harlem.
What's interesting is the Pathmark site, right? The Extel site, and then the Dirt site that's on 125th and Park. So you have two very large developments that are planned for that neighborhood. So I'm sure that, you know, guys a lot bigger than my firm are trying to get their heads around.
I mean, look, David Blumenfeld is building on 126th Street, which is really on 125th because he owns the site. It's directly across the street from the Pathmark site. It's a beautiful building. You know, it's going to be an 80-20 affordable. And they're assuming that the rents are going to be a reasonable price. I think it's probably going to be one of the highest prices per square foot for rentals in that market. Then there's plans also at Blumenfeld, you know, Forest City, East River Plaza. Right. I mean, East River Plaza has, I think, definitely become a success. You know, you grew up in the neighborhood, there's no question. East River Plaza, you know, the Costco, the Target, and everything is doing very well over there. Have you seen on retail sites people looking for that type of market over there?
Retail, I think right now a lot of residential development is going to be driving the retail. There's been some big retail transactions. Thor did a few large deals on Park and 125th Street. Lexington and 125th Street earlier this year, also on the west side. But until the residential on the east side at least gets more going, 3rd Avenue retail which is a main corridor. 2nd Avenue retail still has some catching up to do.
As I brought up before, and Ed brought up prior to the show, the neighborhoods change by the blocks. How would you disseminate the market streetwise?
Well, it's funny. We're talking about East Harlem. The other issue that East Harlem has is those block of projects that stretch from Lenox all the way to the river. And that, on top of the methadone clinics, really makes East Harlem very different than Central Harlem that doesn't have this massive block of projects in the middle of the community.
There's not much continuity. I mean, you've got one neighborhood from, let's call it 96 to 112th, and even that's broken up by some projects right in the middle there. And then you've got from 115th to 125th Street, and housing projects, you know, weave in and out of there. So it's not like other parts of call it the East Village, where you've got low-lying tenement buildings all the way from one side to another. It's harder to get that kind of continuity.
Yeah, and then 5th Avenue is a divider too, right? So east of 5th Avenue really starts to push towards East Harlem, and the neighborhood changes a little bit. You know, then you get between 5th and 6th or 5th and Lenox, you know, things start to change. And then once you get, you know, past Lenox, over past Frederick Douglass Boulevard, that's prime residential marketplace right now. That's where you get the biggest.
Within these developments, in the new developments that are being built, are we seeing retail planned for them, or are we just you know, are we just seeing truly residential?
Well, I mean, anything that's on an avenue or a major street, there's definitely retail. When you get onto side streets, when you get on, you know, if you're on 117th Street between 5th and Lenox, you're probably not seeing retail. You might be seeing community space.
Right. It's really what it's zoned for, right?
Right.
And going for a rezoning just to add commercial space is a huge headache.
Parking has been a big question. The lack of it, and also the fact that parking reduces the amount that you can build.
Well, the parking requirements definitely hurt developers. I'm working with a developer right now who's doing a modest 30 or so thousand square foot building in Central Harlem, and we have to keep our unit count to a certain number, or his parking requirements going to kick in. So what happens is his apartments are growing because he can't add one more apartment. And the truth of the matter is I don't understand it, because Harlem is so well served by public transportation. Why the city is insisting on enforcing parking regulation on buildings that don't need it? And why do we want to bring more cars into the city? Don't we have enough?
You know, a market, an area that we really haven't discussed, which is a great opportunity because of the trains, is the Inwood market, the Washington Heights, where there hasn't been the development, where, you know, there is, you know, if you could build an affordable condominium in that market and you have a 20-minute ride into the city because the trains are so good, why do you see developers haven't gone there yet?
This is an interesting question. Even if you look at Harlem, having grown up there, Adam Clayton Powell historically was always the strongest boulevard until development started happening. And then Frederick Douglass took over. The reason why is Frederick Douglass, way back when, was completely vacant. So developers had land to develop.
It was a blank slate.
It was a blank slate. Whereas on Adam Clayton Powell, it was nothing but occupied lower middle class buildings. That's the issue you have in the Heights and Inwood. There's just not sites. And so except for a few church projects, where else can you build up there? And that the few sites that were there have been developed. So
Yeah, there's even less land in Washington Heights and Inwood than there is anywhere else. It's and also there's always been kind of it doesn't have a condo market like there's a co-op market west of Broadway in particular. But there's really not much new development in terms of condo up there right now. The rental market's strong. The rental market's growing. I think one of the places where we've seen things like the Columbia University expansion improve is the rental market, going all the way up into Washington Heights and into Inwood. But as far as the end user market, that still has
But I mean, in
ways to
addition,
go.
you know, we have one of the best medical centers in the country being on, you know, Columbia Presbyterian Hospital and Columbia University School of Surgery that you have over there. And there's, you know, you have all these people who work there, all the nurses, all the technicians and everything, that there's a total lack of housing in the neighborhood. So I'm mixed, especially since I was involved with a nonprofit who owns land up there, that developers have stayed away from that.
Yeah, it's not that they've stayed away. It really is that the opportunities aren't there. We're talking to a couple of developers right now about 3 sites, which usually wouldn't sound like a lot. 3 sites up there is a lot. There's just not a lot of opportunity. The developers want to develop there, and maybe that's an area that needs to be looked at for rezoning and upzoning. You know, because you go up there. I mean, you just had your surgery up there, right? So you know, you go up there. It is hustling and bustling from 7 in the morning until late into the evening, and then everyone goes home because they can't stay.
Right.
So where is your next sites in your developments?
So we have
in the market that you're talking about today.
Sure. We have a
And I know you're going to be using Stephen
Halstead.
It's different Halstead.
That's right. We have a project on 124th between Adam Clayton Powell and Frederick Douglass that we're very excited about. We're going to bring in 400 apartments, half affordable, half market rate. We're going to have
affordable condos.
There'll be a affordable condos and a affordable rentals. It's a block over from Whole Foods.
Okay, when we talk affordable, and people, I want to clarify, are we talking about 155% of area median income affordable, or are we talking up to a low income?
This will be, the top bracket will be 80% AMI. So our affordable units will truly be affordable. And our market rate units will be market. But we're very excited because it'll be mixed income, and it'll be a substantial project for that part of Central Harlem.
So there'll be an affordable and a market rate component in each one of the of the complexes.
Right.
What is the rules on the selling of an affordable condo? How long does a person for a profit?
Interesting.
And I think because people have always asked me, and I haven't really discussed it on the show.
It's interesting. So the one place you can get subsidy from is from the state. It's AHC, which I believe is the Affordable Housing Corporation. Their regs last 15 years. So you're locked in to keep it affordable for 15 years. On the 16th year, then you can go market. If you go market before, then you have to pay back their subsidy. However, in some deals, the markets they've gone up so fast that people happily pay back the subsidy.
Yeah.
And still sell to the market. So
Absolutely.
Now, for my viewers, the affordable condos go into a lottery also, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
So they
everything
go-
goes into a lottery. Whether it's rental or condo, it's all lottery driven.
Right.
What effect that we don't have and we may have tax benefits have had on the sale of investment properties up in north of 96th Street?
So most of the development sites we're selling right now are condo anyway, and if people are paying 200 a buildable foot to sell out at 1,000 a foot, they're looking at the 421A as a rental fallback. But otherwise, they're not really. It hasn't had that much of a damper on sales. I think where it's been more problematic from a 420 perspective has been parts of the Bronx, parts of eastern Brooklyn, but Upper Manhattan. What's kept prices a little bit softer this year has been funding. It's been harder to raise debt, and just a large supply of units that are coming on the market.
You know, you bring up an interesting point, and Steve sees it when he's dealing with developers. Ed sees it for himself as a developer. Banks are pretty set in their ways today. They haven't changed their regulations on what they're lending. They're asking for a certain amount of equity. They don't care what your basis is. How difficult is it to get financing? I'm going to ask you and you because
Sure.
you see it on both sides of the coin.
It is difficult. I mean, banks are, for a construction loan on the market rate side, 65% loan to value,
If you can get that.
if you can get it. So you do have to bring substantial equity to the deal. Deals that we did before the crisis, we weren't as big back then. We really nickeled and dimed it, and the banks said, "Okay, we see your basis and the
Right, but
deal."
today under the new rules,
So-
they can't look at the old basis. They have to look at the current basis.
Right.
Okay. How do you,
It's changed our business dramatically. I mean, we spend 50% of our time trying to help our clients tell the story to the bank about why the deal makes sense, even when the deal's basis is low. We are pumping out huge amounts of research. We are putting together with people like Michael debt books that look like offering plans, and touring investors and bankers and investment committees through the neighborhood so that they can understand it. For the JTS site, we have to tour people around all the time because a lot of the people that work in the banks used to go to Columbia University 20 years ago.
Right.
They don't even know what the neighborhood's like today. They just have this thought about what the neighborhood's like today. So it's a big undertaking, and only real developers are getting money. If you're a novice developer, you're not getting a loan today.
what about, how do you see it for the financing on the
It's
sale of properties?
it's tighter right now. It's people are. You need to have equity from somewhere. You need to have it internationally. You need to have it from either high net worth local. But it's much more challenging right now. If it's a unique site that offers scale and offers the ability to really amenitize the offering, then you'll be able to pull it together. But it's hard to reach right now.
So I think, in summation, when we're looking at it this way, fortunately, the retail has been coming ever since Harlem, USA,
Right.
East River Plaza, the gentrification of 125th Street for retail, coupled with the new retail developments that are being built on Lenox and so on. So the retail component is over there. We have a limited amount of hospitality component, maybe one or two hotels and one or two planned, but perhaps that's enough for the market. And the outlook, as my crystal apple would say, seems bright for the residential development in north of 96th Street, and the opportunities are probably out there, especially in Inwood, if we could find the right sites and the redevelopment of the rezoning takes place. I'd like to thank Ed, Mike, and Steve, and I'll see you next week.